Hey guys, it's Kyle from Elite RC Forums here, and I'm bringing you guys a review on the Kyosho mp9 tki3. Um, Sorry that it's dirty right now. Didn't get a chance to clean it since my last race. I've been really busy working on my real car and finishing up school, doing all that good stuff, um, and getting the Elite RC Forums YouTube channel set up, so now I can actually start making videos, getting it all ready and up and running. So, but it being dirty will not affect the review at all. So let's just start here. As you guys can see, this is not the original body. This is the high downforce Kyosho body. It's slightly expensive. It's $45. I guess it has something to do with the yen conversion coming from Japan into the United States, which is where I'm located. I'm located in Southern California. I race at the JBRL Nitro Series, Thunder Alley Series Grassroots. I raced at the Duel. I'm going to be racing at Gas Champs out at Thunder Alley down in September. Battle of the Sickest is coming up pretty soon. Couldn't make it out to Nitro Challenge, either of them Silver State or the actual Dirt Nitro Challenge this year, but next year hopefully I'll be able to. So let's start talking about that and start talking about the car. So as you can see, what I like about the car is personally being a racer and a body painter. I did not paint this body. My friend Dustin Walden painted this one. But me being a painter, I can get one of my paint jobs that I did in a later video, or at the end of this video. But it's a very flat style of body. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of sharp ridges besides in the back here. It's pretty much flat on all sides. So it's really easy to paint on. That's kind of nice. Kind of gives it a nice clean look, easy to put stickers on and everything else. It does have these little cutouts here, if you guys can see that, right back here for the manifold. You can cut those out with a Dremel tool. It does allow some heat to escape from the pipe and not totally cook everything inside, and it keeps your body from warping and stuff. Paint chipping off, that type of thing. So let's dig into it here. These bodies do come in the thin, which is what this one is, and the thick 1mm Lexan. And that's what my other one over there, I don't know if you guys can see it, I have another one over there that's painted the exact same. It's the thick body. And I do have tires just so you guys can see the suspension and see how it all works. The wing, all these guys love using the stock Kyosho wing. Lets the car rotate really, really well. Even a lot of the Mugen guys are starting to use the Kyosho wing because they say it helps the car turn better, which, you know, gets you more corner speed. Depending on the track conditions, some of them will switch it up. Some of them only run the Mugen wing. Some of them only run the Kyosho wing. You know, it's kind of to each his own. You know. In here I'm running the Novarossi 4 BTT-S. It is the 2012 Argentina World Champion Edition. I do have my other one that's in the box, which is the original I bought in 2012 before it actually won the championship, which was pretty cool. The car handles exceptionally well. If you guys are looking for a base setup, if you got one of these or you're looking to get one of these, a good base setup is Cody King's World's 2010 setup in Pattaya. You can find that on CodyKingRC.com. And there's a couple things you got to change, like the clutch screws on his. Put all the 1.0mm springs on there instead of the 1.0 and the 1.1 springs. So right now my clutch bearings do need to be replaced, so the sound is not that great. But even with the clutch bearings being crap right now, the car still rolls exceptionally free, as some cars do not. But that's just, I like a car that as soon as you let off the gas, it'll still want to roll through a turn. It won't be almost like it's on the brakes. The suspension geometry on this is really smooth. On track, it's always planted. I don't know how. It's just the Kyoshos always seem to be able to come out of the worst type of landings or the craziest whips or anything and come out okay. They usually do not get messed up. They handle exceptionally well in whoops. And I know there's a big controversy on the whole orange spring in the rear, light blue spring in the front, as you guys can see there. My personal take on that is I run the orange springs in the rear when it's a little bit looser, or the tracks, you need to get some extra traction out of the rear. And I always run the light blues in the front. I don't think I ever have had to change them. Now you will have to adjust your ride height, obviously, because the orange is a softer spring than the light blue. And I'll put the light blue on the back when the track's smooth and high grip. I'll put the oranges on the rear when it's a little bumpier, or I need to get some more traction out of the rear, as it is a softer spring. The car is designed exceptionally well, in my opinion. It does like a lot of flex in the chassis. So as you guys can see here, it does like to flex. I think that's what gives the Kyosho exceptional handling in the whoops, is that it does flex. Now I do have a couple of upgrade parts on here. I'll show you guys right here. I do have the aluminum spindle carriers in the front. The aluminum spindles are stock, all machined. I have the titanium turnbuckles and tie rods, steering one in there, and also the rears, as you guys can see. The wing mount and chassis brace mount is also aluminum upgraded. I have the lightweight shock standoffs, the aluminum shock standoffs instead of steel. Get some of that weight from up high to keep it down low. I do have the steel hinge pin still on here, but it is a hinge pin, so it is at the lowest point of the car all the way across. So I kept those on there to try to keep as much weight down low. Which, like I said, is to each his own. You can do that, or you can put all the titanium ones. My personal experience is that the steels do not bend as easy as the titanium ones. And for the average racer, you're not going to notice much of a weight difference. I did replace all of the steel uniballs on here to the machined aluminum ones. It gives the car a much smoother feel, and also they wear a lot better. They last a lot longer. This chassis is still pretty new. As you can see, some of the anodizing still on the side. The Kyosho anodizing on their chassis is very thin, at least on the stock chassis. They do have their hard anodized chassis, which is more expensive, and I know firsthand from a couple of factory Kyosho drivers, they say it does not really change the characteristics of the car handling at all. It just wears a little bit better, as it is like 0.125 millimeters thicker, but the handling characteristics is about the same. There is like there's almost no difference. As for the or to go along with that is the stock shock towers versus the hard anodized ones. The hard anodized ones are just, like I said, hard anodized instead of the regular anodizing, and they don't get as scratched up. It may last a little bit longer, but they don't stiffen up the geometry of the car or anything. There's no real big advantage to them. I do run dual KO servos in here, response for the steering and brake, and power for the steering. I meant the response for the throttle and brake, my bad, and the power for the steering. I like the power one for the steering because it has plenty of torque. It has like 416 ounces of torque, and is it a .09 speed or .011 speed? .11 speed, my bad. So it's a little bit slower, so it doesn't allow the car to get as twitched out if your hands are shaking or whatever. It is still quick enough to get the job done though, and has plenty of torque, like I said. And it is the hard case. Keeps the gears all in line, so it does under chassis flex. It doesn't flex the gears and cause problem. And the response is a .07 response time, which is really fast, and I like that on my throttle. So I can have really quick throttle response and braking response, and it doesn't need as much torque, in my opinion. And on here, this is a little tip I've picked up. I don't know if you guys can see in there. I don't know if I have a flashlight of any kind, but yeah, I don't think I have one. Oh well. In here, you guys might be able to see it. Anyways, I do in here have, for any of you guys that know the Kyosho way, there is the motor mount, and it sits on motor plates. And what happens is, let's see if I can get this here. Just adjust my lighting. Oh wait, no, here. Hang on, guys. Sorry about this real quick. Just plug this baby in. In there's the motor sitting on the motor mounts, and then it's sitting on a motor mount plate. Well, as you can see, I put a longer screw in there and put a nylock nut over that, and that keeps it really, really solid. Doesn't allow those screws to come out whatso freaking ever. Which, in my opinion, I've had that, or in my experience, I've had that happen a couple times, and it is not fun, believe me. So that's not something you want to have happen. One other thing is when you got a really high bite surface, I will put a 2.5 sway bar on the front to match the rear, because the rear is a 2.5 sway bar and the front is a 2.3 stock. I'll put a 2.5 in the front, and it balances out the car a little bit, doesn't allow it to plunge as much in corners. So if you were going into a corner, hit the brakes, or just let off the throttle, it would want to pick that back tire up like that. So if it was a stiffer front sway bar, it keeps it more planted, which is great on the high bite, where you don't have to worry about your car pushing because the bite is so much that it's not going to be doing that anyway. So another thing you guys can see, or one thing I'm going to talk about after I get done with this last thing, is that the drivetrain wears really, really well. I have no complaints with it whatsoever. The pinion and ring gear in the diffs, in the front rear diffs, are like bulletproof. You'd have to do it crazy wrong for that to have a problem with that. The way I run it here in Southern California at tracks like Proline, Thunder Alley, Palm Desert RC Raceway, Revelation Raceway, Chula Vista RC, I run 5,000, 5,000, 3,000. Gives it a good, easy to drive feel. Next thing to talk about is cost. Now, the cost for the Kyosho is a little bit high compared to other buggies. The Mugen is probably next, and then all the rest kind of fall into line, being the TLR, the X-Ray, the rest of them, JQ, all those other competing brands. But in my opinion, the Kyosho is the easiest to drive and the easiest to be fast with, because you don't really have to push the car. The car almost drives itself. Now, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's what it feels like when you're driving. It's like you don't have to be all over it all the time. You can kind of almost just let it do its thing, It just likes to be driven, It likes to be put. The harder the track conditions, the more it likes it. It's ridiculous. Another cool thing is that it comes with the aluminum rear hubs, which most buggies on the market do not. The aluminum radio tray, the battery up front, the receiver in the rear. I run just a servo extension up to the battery as my switch. You can put a switch in here. I've just had bad luck with switches and stuff, so I just went to the servo extension in that. I do run the 1.3x8 pistons, the white ones, inside of my shocks. Gives it a more plush feel on the smaller jumps, and on the in the bumps it helps it soak up more of the small stuff. Keeps it better in line. Other than that, guys, durability is really good. I know a lot of people say Kyoshos are brittle and stuff, and yeah, they are a little bit stiffer, but it's not going to be like a 10 scale 4-wheel drive where you literally hit a rock and it breaks an arm. It's not even close. I've had some pretty bad tumbles with this due to either my faults or other drivers' faults, or both, and it's held together really well. It does have a actual designated transponder mount. I do have the 30mm ventilated disc brakes, or the brake rotors in there. That gives it a little bit of extra braking power when you need it, and also helps cool the brakes off quicker, as vented rotors do on RC and real cars. For those long 30-minute to 45-minute to even 60-minute mains that you could be running, depending on what your skill level is, what class you're running, and what races you go to. It just keeps away brake fade. Other than that, guys, I haven't had any problems with the buggy whatsoever. If you guys need any help or any setup advice, or if you're having a problem, let me know. The only thing I can say that I've ever actually had a problem with was the Kyosho clutch. It's not really the car's fault, so don't discredit the car. It's the clutch, and you really got to crank down the flywheel nut when you're putting together a clutch. Put some blue Loctite or even red Loctite, and get some channel locks or something. Hold it and crank it is really, really tight, because it will want to come off. I'm not sure why it wants to do that, but it just seemed to do that the first 2 or 3 tanks I owned the car. Got that problem fixed. Haven't had a problem since. Go check out CodyKingRC.com for the stock setup on this. It'll really help you get a good starting point. It's great out of the box, but just to get a really good, fast setup, you don't have to go searching for it. Other than that, guys, if you've got any questions, let me know down in the comments, or go find me on go ask in the Kyosho mp9 tki3 section of Elite RC forums. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out EliteRCboard.net, and having a good day.